Hello, YouTube. This is Insane Monster, and we are here for the part one of What If Deku Had Rago. Now, then, if you haven't, please remember to watch part zero before this. Part zero also has a link to the manga, which is the source material for this What If. So please check out part zero of this so that you can be properly updated on how this world actually works and such for this What If. With that, I do hope you're having a good Easter and that you guys are enjoying yourselves with all of these What Ifs for the What If special, Easter special and such. With all that said, as per usual, before we begin, hit it. Now then, as we get to the part of the anime where we begin, we see Izuku running over to try to get to school. As it turns out, the train is somewhat being delayed due to a giant villain attack. As this goes similar to in canon, and Izuku makes it to school, his teacher still does the whole thing with the introduction of the career aptitude test, as he just tosses the papers up in the air, remarking that they all want to be heroes. As Bakugo does his same rant as usual, Rago appears on Izuku's shoulder with a somewhat annoyed look on his cat face, as he doesn't really like, well, Bakugo's attitude towards everything, especially judging people by their powers and such, so heavily. As the teacher remarks that Bakugo is actually applying to UA, with the class surprised by that, as he's going for the top hero school in their country. They figured that he does have a decent chance with his quirk, as the teacher continues, stating, "Oh yes, uh, Izuku Midoriya, you also are aiming to apply to UA." As they look at Izuku, they never really seen him use his quirk besides the cat that appears out of his body. There have been instances of some of his classmates trying to find where he trains. They do find his training ground, but never were able to catch him training to see what his quirk can really do, as they just see the area pretty wrecked, with boulders smashed into dust, some of them cut in half, and even trees pretty messed up in some spots. Of course, they do end up getting cleaned up later. The reason why they never see Izuku do this is because he has been training for more stealthy approaches and such, not just physical power. As this does take the wind out of, well, Bakugo's sails, as he wanted to be the only student from this public school to end up going to UA. So there is that. As Izuku leaves, Bakugo yells at him, remarking, "What are you thinking? I'm supposed to be the only one going to UA from this crap school." As Izuku sighs, remarking, "Just because you want that to be to help boost your reputation doesn't mean I'm going to not go to UA." As Bakugo is getting angry, Rago appears, looking annoyed at Bakugo, and uses his normal cat claws to scratch Bakugo, causing him to yell, stating, "That damn stupid cat! Why does it always do that?" As Izuku remarks, "Because you keep antagonizing him?" Yelling all the time doesn't really, well, go good with him, as Rago is just being kind of, uh, well, he isn't speaking to Bakugo, but he is being somewhat snarky at him, as this just makes Bakugo angrier as Izuku slips away when he distracts him, pointing out, stating that his buddies are coming. As he looks back, seeing his little group of followers looking back at Izuku, only to find that he's disappeared, as he yells, saying, "Ah, not again!" As Izuku does go the same way as in canon, he sighs, remarking, "Do you really have to keep clawing Bakugo like that?" As Rago appears, stating, "He is very annoying. Uh, Honestly, I can't understand how he can be constantly angry all the time. What is even fueling that anger for so long? It's like someone just keeps feeding the fire in that boy." As Zuko chuckles a little bit, stating, "Yeah, that's pretty accurate." As he gets a message on his phone, he's actually become pen pals over social media with Pony, who is currently in the States, as he messaged Izuku that she'll be going to Japan soon in order to apply to UA due to its prestige worldwide. This being the case due to the very, very, well, advanced level of heroes that they do produce there, including All Might, Endeavor, and such. With this, Izuku smirks, as he thinks he's gonna see his old friend again. As Rago just states, "Huh, so looking forward to seeing her again. I wonder how she's matured." As Izuku just states, "Well, she's probably gotten a lot better with her quirk." This is when they do have a moment of pausing underneath the bridge they were going through to get home, as Izuku sensed something was off. This being something he developed through his training that Rago did help guide him through. As the sludge villain emerges looking frantic, as if he was trying to find a place to hide, seeing Izuku as he states, "Hey kid, I'm gonna need that body of yours. I didn't know that he'd be here. Honestly, what is he even doing here?" Whatever. As he attacks Izuku, Izuku forms a dark scarf around his neck and such, as the long scarf then lashes around, just hitting the sludge villain over and over again, splattering his sludge body everywhere. As this then lessened as Rago reforms, Izuku asks if he was a Mononosuke, since Rago did explain what he was and how to tell the difference between them somewhat, though due to the quirk gene, that can sometimes be hard. As Rago states, no, he's actually just a quirk human. Though, I'll admit, I had no idea that a quirk could go this far in altering a human's body. Seems as though he's become somewhat of a semi liquid. and quite a disgusting one at that. With Izuku stating, I guess he's a sludge villain, as they hear a voice stating, do not fear, for I am here, as All Might bursts through, just seeing the sludge villain splattered everywhere. As he looked around at what the scene is, and how scattered about the sludge villain is, he looks at Izuku, who has a cat on his shoulder, and asked, young man, did you do this? He states, yeah, this sludge villain guy was going off about needing a hiding place and wanting to take my body, which honestly is pretty creepy. As Rago continued, yes, very much so. This body already houses two. We do not need a third occupant. As he just looks at the cat that just talked, asking, is this a friend of yours who turns into a cat? He states, no, this is Rago, as he remarks that he's my quirk. This being something that they're hiding, since they can't really explain it properly. There are a number of heroes in society that do know about the Mononosuke and keep it a secret, masking these individuals as quirk humans with a mutation type quirk. As All Might just states, alright then, I'll just gather up the villain, as he takes two empty bottles and gathers him up. With this, he thanks Izuku for helping him catch the villain, but to be more careful since, due to the fact that he was defending himself from a villain that clearly meant harm to him, he will be given a pass on this, but he should be careful, since in different circumstances he can get in a good amount of trouble for using his quirk like that. As he jumps away, walking as they do, still trying to walk home, Rago states, having that kind of power, I wonder, how strong is he? I have a feeling that that jump he just did was him holding back, with Izuku being surprised, remarking, how do you know that? Rago states, trust me, I've been around a long time. After a while, you have somewhat of a feeling when someone's holding back. And if that's true, I don't want to imagine what getting hit with full force would feel like. With Izuku being worried, wondering, well, he shudders to imagine what getting hit with All Might full force would be if that was the case. But Rocco also mentioned, out of nowhere, though, it also seems like something's off about him. Confused, Izuku just lets it pass as they continue. This is when an explosion happens in the distance where they hear. This happening because the sludge villain was able to escape after his bottle was kicked by Bakugo. This happened due to the fact that the sheer amount of force from All Might's jump caused the bottom of his pockets to rip open, which ended up dropping the sludge villain. As All Might recognized what happened, as well as knowing that he's out of time for today in using his quirk, he panics, running to where the explosion is, thinking that he messed up. As Izuku ends up there, he sees that the sludge villain's out. Izuku states, how did he escape All Might? Rago mentions, well, he was wearing street clothes, It's possible that the sheer force of his jump caused some damage to his clothes, allowing the villain to escape. As they hear that the sludge villain took a kid hostage, Izuku looks closer and sees that it's Bakugo. On instinct, he begins running, with Rago stating, "What are you doing? You, why are you just running out of nowheres?" Izuku remarks, "I don't know, my body's moving on its own." As Rago states, "Ugh, fine, let's just save the idiot and leave. I don't want the media recording me." As he covers Izuku in the armor, using the scarf to lunge at the sludge villain, stabbing into him and controlling it to wrap it around Bakugo, yanking him out. With this, the sludge villain yells out, "No! You little..." As he remembers this kid and what he did last time. He remarks, "No, no, no, no." As Izuku reels back his fists and throws a punch, creating a large black flame looking fist, blasting the sludge villain backwards, sending him into the fires that were created from Bakugo's explosions from earlier when he tried to escape the villain. As he writhed in pain, he got out of the fire as quick as possible, but was unable to move due to the injuries he suffered from it. After that, Izuku hurried up and got out of there, not wanting to deal with the media, and not wanting uh, him and Rago's transformation armor being revealed to the media. Of course, the heroes were impressed by this, but wondered who that guy was, as All Might remembered that saggy green hair. He buffed up again after leaving the crowd to go find him. Eventually, Bakugo found Izuku, yelling that he didn't need his help, and that, ugh, as he stormed off, frustrated that he needed Izuku to save him, thinking that I'm going to become number one. I'm going to become the strongest, as he clenches his fist. As Izuku sighed, remarking that, doesn't look like he'll ever change, huh? Ragu pops out, stating, "Yes, but his pride makes it harder for him to say thank you for saving his life. He has great confidence in his strength, which his quirk is powerful, but it can't do everything. The sooner he learns that, the better off he'll be." As they continued walking, All Might zooms in as he sucks Izuku and Rago, as then he deflates, spitting up blood, stalking Izuku as he yelled, Who are you?" Ragu held Izuku to calm down, that from what he can sense, this is All Might. The presence he has, even in this form, is still All Might. As he calms down a bit, All Might surprised that the cat can talk, and but leaves it alone due to the fact that this kind of quirk isn't exactly unheard of. But coughs as he states, "Young man, I would like to thank you for helping defeat that villain after I accidentally lost the container I had him in and resulted in what could have been a disaster." So he then got a very serious look on his face, extending his hand, asking Izuku to be his successor. Confused by this, All Might continued, stating that he's been looking for a successor for his power, going on remarking that his power is called One for All, and explaining how it has been passed down from person to person until it got to him. As he was confused by this, he knew he was already pretty powerful, but wasn't sure if he should take it. All Might is incredibly powerful, but so is he, especially with Rago bonded to him. But Rago whispered in his ear that they should talk first, in private, before they make any kind of decision like this. Izuku took in a deep breath and asked All Might for some time to process all of this information that he's being thrown, since what he's been told doesn't really match up with what they know about quirks. Not to mention, this is a pretty big decision to make. All Might understands and agrees to this as he gives him an address and a time, which is a couple of days from now, to be met at Dagobah Beach. As he states, if you don't meet me there, I will have your answer. If you do, we can talk more. As All Might left. Once Rago and Izuku got home, they went to their rooms, took care of their homework as Izuku was thinking about what All Might said. Once that was taken care of, he had his talk with Rago, with Izuku asking, "What are you thinking, Rago?" With Rago remarking something he felt a while ago when Izuku was really young, as the presence or the power of an old enemy felt like it returned. This being the energy that collected the scattered amount of energy from Amagi, which he, before the final battle, took a portion of and put it in the killing stone as a bit of a safe measure, just in case. As he tells him about Amagi, everything. This was something he rather didn't enjoy talking about, given how Amagi, what he did, and how he forced Rago to seal himself into the killing stone, then later unsealed Rago, and all the chaos he caused. How he ate 1,000 of his comrades to gain enough power to fight him, and how that power reemerged, and how it suddenly disappeared. Something is off, Izuku, and I don't feel comfortable with this. It almost feels as though there's a coming storm. Izuku asked what he meant. As Rago remarks, I've been alive long enough to sense all kinds of things, one of which is a certain feel in the air when a country or a land will be ravaged by confusion, chaos, bloodshed. And right now, that kind of feeling is lingering in the air. There's this odd sense of unease, and it's like nothing I've ever sensed in my entire existence. If what I fear comes to pass, even my power might not be enough to deal with it. This being something that, well, for starters, if you haven't watched the part zero, you won't know what he's talking about. As well, if you haven't read the manga for My Hero and how crazy it's been going in that manga. And what's the big, well, the really, really big issue that the heroes are facing in the manga for My Hero Academia. So yeah, I do read the manga to make sure I'm kept up and I can adjust my stories for what is necessary. As Rago continued, stating that All Might's power might be enough to help us survive this, not to mention stop whatever is coming our way. As Izuku asked, "What do you mean?" Rago reminded him of his uniqueness, of self sustained energy, that he didn't have to eat his own kind or humans to gain more power and such, that he just kept generating it. He did remember what he said and how powerful he could be. But if this, if this so called air of some kind of incoming storm is really causing him to worry this much, it really doesn't sound good and making him quite nervous. As Izuku asked, "So, you think we should accept All Might's offer? Is that right?" As Rago states, "Yes. From being honest, it's probably what we need in order to survive. Not to mention to stop whoever is causing this." Zuko understood what Rago was saying, and also knew that he wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't serious. As he took a look at the note that All Might gave him for the address and such for Dagobah Beach, he sighed, remarking, "Okay, well, going to trust you. I know you know a lot, and from what you've explained, have no reason to not trust you. Everything else you've told me makes a lot of sense. And we've also had some run in with some Mononosuke that we took care of. These being some light skirmishes that they were able to keep quiet. So they weren't really that bad. Though Izuku had to ask if it really was that bad, that he would actually consider becoming even more powerful by inheriting All Might's quirk into them. As Rago states, "Honestly, I'm not sure, but it might get even worse as time goes on." So, when the day came for their meeting, they met with All Might, stating that they would happily agree to this, to his terms to become his successor, though they also decided to tell them about Izuku and Rago's, well, the truth about them. It did shock All Might at first, but he was one of the heroes that knew about the Mononosuke. And there were some stories about Rago, though he never put much stock into them due to the fact that it seems as though he's been gone for so long. Though to be reincarnated, or at least hitch a ride onto the reincarnation of the individual that he was bonded to so long ago, was pretty trippy. As he asked, "Are you sure? You, if what you said is true, you're already quite powerful." As Rago states, "Yes, I am sure," as they explain what Rago has been feeling, but asked All Might if they could show him what he could do. As All Might was happy to give them a demonstration of what his full power was, as he reeled his fist back in his buff form and pretty much just split the ocean at the beach in half, as this high change in wind pressure caused the weather to change as well, surprising Rago, as he states, "You know, for as long as I've lived, not once have I ever thrown a punch that changed the weather. This is you in a weakened state?" As All Might smirked, stating, "Yep." As Izuku was just awestruck, with All Might explaining his injury, which they understood that in this weakened state, he was still so powerful. and how they could definitely survive what's coming, even if they didn't have any idea what it was. As for what you guys might be wondering what Rago is sensing, this is kind of like the calm before the storm that people feel before a area becomes an all-out battlefield of war. Read the manga My Hero to understand what I'm saying. Even if it's a long way away, he can still feel it. Telling All Might he is worried about this. Though, given as there's no sign of what he's talking about currently, he's going to put it on the side for now. As he explained the training of cleaning up the beach, for Izuku to only use his physical body, but required him to show how muscular he is now. After seeing this, he is impressed that someone his age is so physically fit, though remarks how him and Rago do have matching marks. Rago remarks that the mark on Izuku's chest matches the one on his back as a symbol that they are connected. All Might understood this, and they begin. Honestly, the beach cleaning went rather fast, and Izuku did get pretty buff. Well, more buff. More than in canon due to the fact of his previous training, as All Might congratulated him plucking a hair. All in all, the training for cleaning the beach took about 4 months. As this happened, they continued training for Izuku to use One for All after eating the hair. As Rago states, why, this just doesn't seem right. It's like a cat trying to eat a hairball it just hacked up. As All Might states, well, he does have to digest part of my DNA that I willingly give him in order to receive One for All. As Rago just looks at him weird, with All Might stating, don't judge me, that's just how it works. As time went by and he processed it in his gut, he was able to use it. After feeling how the energy felt flowing into his arm, he scattered it across his body, as he figured that it would be similar in using his armor mode when him and Rago used their powers together, as this did work, allowing him to use full cowling, as he reeled back and threw a punch. Currently, he is able to use 100%, but the problem is moving at 100% ends up with him tripping or losing control of his body, trying to move that fast and not being able to control it properly. As All Might looks at him, remarking that you realize that I don't move at 100% all the time in his buff form. Izuku realizing that if All Might did move at 100% all the time, he'd be making constant shockwaves that cause all kinds of destruction. So they begin their training in minimizing it. After a month, he's able to take it to 5, 10, and 20%. This being helped by Rago's interference flowing the energy more efficiently in his body, more or less acting like a assistant co-pilot. So yeah, comes in handy having a second mind in your body to help regulate the power. As this took about 2 months, Izuku got another a message from Pony stating that he's in Japan now and is going to be training, asking if he can help her. With this, Izuku asked if he would be allowed to train on his own to try to use One for All and Rago together, as well as help train uh, a pen pal of his that's going to be trying to get into UA as well. As he smirks, giving his thumbs up, stating, "That's fine. You've already done quite well, young Midoriya. I wish you good luck." As he bows to All Might, stating that "I won't let you down, All Might," and goes off. As he ends up meeting Pony at a wooded area that they decided on through text messages, they greet each other, remarking that they've changed quite a lot over the years since they were kids, and how Pony remarks that she was quite surprised that they even were able to get into contact again through social media, with Izuku scratching the back of his head, stating, "Yeah, the internet really connects the world all over, huh?" As she laughs, remarking, "Yeah, pretty much," as he has a better grasp of Japanese through text messages and such that they've done. With this, they begin their training, as she does use her corn cannon quirk quite well, but it seems as though she's only using it as projectile. With some added help, Zuko remarks that maybe she can use them in other ways as well, figuring out that she could use the horn cannons as a way of mobility by jumping on two of the horns and riding them. Through some training, she realizes that Izuku is even more powerful than she remembers from what he showed her when his family visited the US for his father's business trip. As they do get along, they also study heavily so that they be prepared for the UA's uh, written test for the exam. With everything settled, they're all prepared for the UA entrance exam. And a week before the exam, All Might sent him a text wishing him good luck and to make sure to do his best. With this, Izuku smirks as Ragu states, "You know, maybe in the exam, depending on how it goes, we won't have to hold back and show what we can really do," as he has a big smirk on his face. With Izuku giving a slight smile, he states, "Yeah, that sounds like it would be fun." With this, we'll be ending the What If here. Do hope you enjoyed. Please remember to watch Part 0. Go to the link in Part 0 for the source material. And remember that I did give him One for All in this based on how I set up things in Part 0 and how things are going in the manga. So please do not just go off and remark asking why I gave him One for All. With that, do hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, set it to all so that you're updated on any and all future video uploads. With all that said, see you guys later.